and welcome to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. I'm Brendan Lang alongside Mikey K, Mike Karafilidis, two broadcasters for the Brampton Steelheads on Saga 960. Thank you for coming along here on this Sunday afternoon, or if you're watching on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast, thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Today we got a good show for you today. Got some topics to cover. Good guest, of course, in the middle. We'll have Jakub Fibigr on the show today, so you'll be hearing from him in a moment, the Brampton Steelheads defenseman, and we'll get into their recent games. A lot going on in the past week for the Steelheads, so we can talk about that. Before we get going, though, Mikey, how are you doing? How's the week been treating you?
Good. The week's been good. You know, it's every day is always a new day. It's like Groundhog Day. I always say that, right? But back at the arena. Good to be back at the arena for a good win against the London Knights, and a very, very one of those games, I guess you could say, against the Niagara Ice Dogs on the road. But can't win them all. That's the way I look at it. But the week was good. Yeah, the week was good, and week was good.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, getting back in the rink, it was a good kind of test, I think, against London. I know they didn't have their full roster, but the Steelheads jumped all over them in that game. We can talk about that in a little bit. But I mean, just with everything going on, that's kind of I'm kind of the same as you. Groundhog Day, just doing the same thing all the time. That's kind of how it goes. We do have a holiday coming up, which we can talk about a little bit in the last segment. I guess when this show airs, it will be Thanksgiving, so we can talk a little bit about that in the the stuffing. I know you had a life tip on the stuffing last year, so maybe we could get deeper into that a little bit in the final segment. Oh, okay. Perfect. I'm really looking forward to the stuffing talk in segment number 3. Okay, so let's get into some hockey talk, though, so we don't have a ton of time here before we have Jakub Fibigr, Steelheads defenseman, on the program. So first, we'll start off. I know it was a little while ago now, but the Barrie Colts game. Like, we can just kind of do a little bit of that. You were there, of course, and the Steelheads picked up a big win in Barrie.
Yeah, they really played well. Most of the play was inside of the Barrie zone. They came out again, just rolling 4 lines, one after another. The top line of Rakoff, Martone, and McDonnell were in on all the goals, right? So, I mean, what else is new with those 3 guys? So, McDonnell had a really good one-timer. They were really, really good on the forecheck. Barrie couldn't get the puck out of their own zone. I think the shots at one time were like 12-3 in favor of the Steelheads, or 15-2, something like that. I can't remember. But really, really good game. Really good team effort. Really good in their defensive zone. Their breakouts were really good. Just overall team effort that game, and that's the way it's been so far this year. But they got to keep that up going moving forward. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say the team effort has kind of been a theme all season long. Early on in the season, it just seems like everyone's firing. Of course, you have the top line. It helps when they're firing on the cylinders that they are right now. But yeah, getting everybody involved is obviously a big part of this Steelheads team, and they were able to do that against the Barrie Colts. Now we'll jump to the game against London that was on Saturday this past weekend, and my goodness, I mean, what a game for the Brampton Steelheads. I mentioned it a little bit there. London missing a few of their guys, but still, I mean, I don't know how much of a difference it would have made with the Steelheads, the way that they came out, the way they took it to the Knights, with Rakoff scoring, what was it, 16 seconds into the game? I think it was. That obviously got things going. Leskovar back in the lineup. He throws a big hit early on Sam Dickinson. I think that kind of ramped up the physicality a little bit for the Steelheads, just maybe got them a little more comfortable in that game. And they, from the beginning to the end, there was a little stretch in there where London made a bit of a push, but pretty much for the whole 60 minutes, the Steelheads dominated that game.
Yeah, they came out and they just outworked them, right? They just outworked them from start to end. But I think the only real pressure that the London Knights really had in that game is when the Steelheads got into some penalty trouble in the third period.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was all Steelheads that game. As you know, I mean, Rakoff scoring, as you said, 18 or 16 seconds in, whatever it was. And then he just kept going. Martone was absolutely phenomenal. Ivan Kovic was great in between the twine. Great team effort. Spencer Silva was good. Everybody was good. That's all you could say about that. Out shooting them, outplaying them. Again, total team effort. And Stevie Leskovar with a huge hit behind the net. I mean, I think the arena just like shook from that hit, right?
Yeah.
And he set the tone early. So,
Yeah.
and the guys really seemed to feed off that, it seemed like. So it was a great team effort.
Yeah, and I mean he's such a big piece to the team. Leskovar is, and I think even though they did win the first 3 games, they still missed him on the back end, and to have him back is really really big for this Steelheads team to just have that steadying presence back there. We know Chaz Sharp kind of gave that last year as the overage guy. Spencer Sova there now. He has maybe a little bit more of an offensive side of the game, but Leskovar, you know, he's a defensive defenseman kind of guy, and he's going to be able to provide stability back there. And he's just such a big piece to the roster. And another thing too, like you said, with the hit, he brings energy to the game. I think that's something too that the Steelheads need, and any team needs, is somebody to be there to bring energy to the roster, and obviously he does that. You talked a little bit about Ivan Kovic there. You can maybe elaborate on his performance against London, because you said, I mean, there were a couple times where the Knights pushed back a little bit because of the penalty trouble that the Steelheads had. It was near the end of the second period into the third period where they started to really march to the penalty box. But Ivan Kovic came up with save after save to keep them in that game when the Knights were pushing.
I'll tell you, I was down at ice level, waiting for interviews and all that kind of stuff when you guys were up in the booth. And I couldn't believe when you watch him, when you're down on ice level watching Jack Ivankovic, and the way he positions himself when you're down on the ice level and you see everything. My goodness me. I mean, he made this one save when he jumped to his right and stuck out his right pad. It was just like unbelievable. And he knows, like he's just so good at positioning, and that's what makes him so good, I think. So, but yeah, he was really good that game. He's been really good all season long so far. I mean, already OHL goaltender of the week, right? I don't
Right.
think it's going to be his first time either, if you ask me. Right.
Yeah.
So he looked really good. He looked really, really good that game.
And then he doesn't get the start in the game against Niagara. You get Jacob Gibbons in there, getting his first action of the regular season since he was traded over from the Erie Otters. Niagara came out strong in that game. I mean, the ending shots were 40 to 34 in favor of Brampton, so they still ended up out shooting them. But I just think the way that the Ice Dogs came out, and it was their home opener, so you knew there was going to be energy in the building.
Yeah.
You knew that they were going to come out with a lot of energy, and it just seemed like they maybe took it to the Steelers early on in that game.
Yeah, they came out with a lot of speed. That game, and Martone scored 18 seconds into that game. And then it was a nice pass from Rakoff, whatnot. And then after that, maybe there was a couple shots that Jacob Gibbons would want to have back, right? And maybe there was some jitters going through his stomach, of course, being his first start as a Steelhead. And James Richmond said in the interview, that's the game that we wanted Jacob Gibbons to start, that we had it circled on our calendar, right? But Gibbons, there was a couple, like I said, a couple shots that he wanted to have back, but he kind of settled in after that. He did get pulled, of course. Jack Ivankovic came in, and then we'll talk about what happened with that. And then Jacob Gibbons had to come back in. But yeah, no, full credit to the Niagara Ice Dogs. They came out with a lot of speed. They came out with a lot of energy that game. Ryan Robick was really good. Kevin He with a hat trick that game, and boy, Kevin he was really flying that game. So, but I expect next time these two teams play, it won't be like that. That's my opinion. Guaranteed. I can guarantee you that.
I think you said it pretty well there. They came out flying in that one. And then Ivan Kovic does come in. Of course, we have the fight between him and Owen Flores, and that ends up in a 4-game suspension for Jack Ivan Kovic. Same on the other side for Owen Flores. We're going to talk a little bit more about that suspension when we get into the last segment of our show, but we're going to take a break right now here on Saga 960 AM. And when we come back, we'll have Brampton Steelheads defenseman Jakub Fibigr on the show. You're listening to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. And welcome back to Trout Talk here on Saga 960 AM. I'm Brendan Lang alongside Mikey K, Mike Karafilidis. Thank you for coming along here and listening on this Sunday afternoon or wherever you're listening to this podcast. Now I'd like to welcome onto the show Brampton Steelheads second-year defenseman Jakub Fibigr. Jakub, thanks for coming on. How are you doing today?
Hi guys, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Hey, anytime, Jakub. How are you doing? You look like you're pretty relaxed over there. You back at your billiard house?
Yeah, I just came back from practice, so we just got home 5 minutes ago, so yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you first, how's practice been so far this week?
It was pretty tough. Like we skated a little bit, but that's all we needed to do. But it is good, and we are ready to go this weekend.
So we talk about the practice. I want to kind of talk about one game at home on the weekend against the London Knights. Of course, a team that won the OHL last year and is going to be around kind of the top this year, along with you guys as well. So, what was that like to be able to face off with them early on in the season? And how did you think you guys played in that one? Obviously, getting a big win.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really big win for us. Like we play London already 2 times. There's a top team right there, but there we're missing a bunch of players, of course, but still very strong team. And I think we played really well. We started really well, and I think the third period wasn't our best, but we came out with a big win, so that's important for us.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you guys really took it to them right in the beginning, and it just shift after shift after shift. And I found maybe a little bit of penalty trouble. You'd probably agree in the third period that kind of gave London a little. They tried to get the momentum, but it never happened. So that's a good thing. But Jakub, let's talk about your off season. Of course, you know you were drafted by the Seattle Kraken, and you went to Seattle camp and whatnot. What did you learn down there in Seattle camp? Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was a summer interesting summer for me. I was all over the place, you know. We had obviously the draft, then the development camp, then some national team, then a lot of training, a lot of skates. So not much time, but I enjoyed it. And if you want to talk about the draft, then it was amazing, you know, to be drafted by Seattle and to see how things works on development camp, and then of course on training camp after and rookie tournament. It was a great experience, and I think I learned a lot of things, and I'll try to keep learning, and hopefully next year show up stronger, and we'll see what happens.
You talk about the draft. Could you maybe take us through what the process was like for you? Like, did you know Seattle was going to pick you? Did you have a lot of conversations with them? Were there other teams in the mix? Just how did that all kind of shake out?
Yeah, I mean, like throughout the year, I had I would say a lot of meetings with the team, so I didn't expect like one or two teams, especially like I wouldn't say like yeah, I knew Seattle was about to pick me, but I talked to them, of course, but I didn't know, and I was just like watching the draft at home with my family, and then just when Seattle picked me, it was a great moment for me. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the time with my family, and I was maybe, I don't know, 5 hours, and I was heading to airport to go to development camp. So it was pretty quick.
You know, it's unbelievable to me for a guy that comes over from Czechia, and how fast you learn the English language is still unbelievable to me. Like you just seem you fit in right away, right? You know, and that's something you should be very proud of, right? I mean, compared to like because you know there's other guys that have come over here from Europe and all that kind of stuff, and it takes them a while to to fit in. But you like a glove, like an absolute glove. I mean, a white glove. You know what I mean? Yeah, unbelievable. So when you were in when you're in Seattle, that kind of stuff, their camp, whatnot. What did they teach you? Like, what did they try to work on with you the most?
Well, I mean, they want to they work with us on like a lot of things, like the development coaches in a development camp. Like every single coach is different style, different techniques, how to teach things. So there's a lot of new stuff for me. And I wouldn't say there was something like they would tell me, yeah, we need you to work on this, like on ice or something. We worked on everything.
Mhm.
The big thing for me was obviously over the summer, the gym, getting a little bit stronger in the gym. I think I'm on a good way. I got a little bit stronger, but still I need to get more right.
I
So,
can see you got
yeah,
stronger.
so they were no,
I mean, look
yeah,
at. I
just a little
mean,
bit
for
though.
compared to last year, yeah. I mean, compared to last year, like your arms are like this now. I remember when you walked on the bus, I was like, "Whoa, look at this guy! My goodness!" Like you're just you really filled out, right? So That's good. That comes from hard work, and that's great.
Mikey had talked there a little bit about you coming over from Czechia last year and fitting in pretty quickly, and obviously that was the case. And you talked a little bit about having Adam Zidlicki here in Brampton or Mississauga last year that helped you along. Now having Martin Vashula coming in from Czechia, are you kind of taking him under your wing? Like maybe there's a bit of a carryover there now with another guy coming over from your country now playing on your team as well.
Yeah, of course, it's great to have three Czech guys from one country, like in one team. It's unbelievable. So we are trying to help Martin out. It's not really easy for him either because he comes like to the team who is one of the best from the league. So when I came over last year, it was a little bit easier. We getting kind of young and everyone was not as experienced as now. So it's tough for him, but we are trying to help him with Adam and I think he's doing pretty well. So yeah, it's always good to have someone you can talk to in your language. So yeah, that's good.
I love it when you guys are talking Czech on the bus and stuff like that, or talking Czech period. I love it. I love it so much. I turn on. I'm trying to
Oh,
pick
do
it up.
you? Can you
Oh,
understand,
I'm
Mikey?
trying. No, not yet. Not yet. I'm trying to pick it up when you guys are speaking, and I hear Zids, I hear you, and I turn on to
Yeah.
Martin. I just kind of smile, I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
I
What
think
did you
Martin
pick up so far,
understands.
right? Hey,
Nothing.
Mikey?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing?
No, absolutely nothing. I'm trying though. I'm trying, and we're going to talk
Yeah.
about that after. But you know what? Let's. I want to talk about the game in Niagara. It was one of those games I thought maybe it was a tough loss and whatnot. But what did you guys in a whole learn from that game moving forward?
You know what? I think like it wasn't our like one of the best game. Obviously, it was pretty bad for us, but I think every team kind of needs that. Like you can be just I don't know winning every single game. So
Hmm.
obviously we want to win that game, but we lost. It happens. We're gonna learn from that, and I think it's better to lose now than in later in the season. So we're gonna learn from it, and hopefully next time, I believe we'll get back to them.
I totally agree with you there, my friend. And it's funny, every word that you just said there, I said that to a Niagara guy over there. Every word that you said, just to say. That's hilarious. See, I said it can't win them all. I go, it's one of those games, and act like the parade. They're starting the parade over there, just to say. Anyways.
And
uh,
also in that game, of course, you have the goalie fight. You have Owen Flores facing off against Jack Ivankovic. I know that the result obviously isn't great with the
Yeah.
4-game suspension for Jack,
mhm.
but have you ever been in a game with a goalie fight before?
No, I never seen any in my life. So I was actually like on the ice when it happened. I was watching the scramble on the ice, and then the Niagara guy goes to me and like, "Oh, look, look!" So I turned around. I saw Kobe with Flores fighting. I was like, "Oh my God, this is bad." So obviously, like you don't see goalie fight every day, but how you said the 4-game suspension isn't really good for us. Like, I mean, Kobe is our one of our best players, so we have to have a good games now without him, and like we'll see what happens. But I hope he'll not fight ever again. But
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
yeah.
he tried. So
He did. But I'll
yeah.
tell you this: it was a 17-year-old against a 20-year-old, right?
Yeah, good for
Mhm.
Kobe. Like, I mean, he was trying to. The game wasn't going our way, so he was trying to somehow get back us. I'm sorry, in a
Some
game. You know what
energy.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
get us
Mhm.
going. Yeah,
Yep.
and well, it didn't happen, but still, it's good on him. Like, he fought 17-year-old. The only thing about that is the 4-game suspensions, but you know what? It already happened. We can do nothing about it now, so let's just move on, and we'll be back, and I'm sure all good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys, you just move on. You can't win them all. On to the next. You couldn't have said it better myself. Everything you've said is just perfect. Perfect. So ever since you've been in Canada, so now this is what your second year in Canada, right?
Yeah,
Correct?
right.
Okay. So, What are some of the things now, some Canadian things that you'd like to do? You know what I mean? Like now that you've been here, yeah, now you've been here. What did you do in the summertime and whatnot? I know you were busy and whatnot with the draft and whatever, but what did you do? Did you go fishing? Did you catch some?
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of Canadian geese? You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like
I know if you're able to talk about it, eh, Mikey here? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Oh, wait. Gotcha. Right. But anyway, so give me some of the things that you like to do now, and maybe some of
yeah,
your
yeah.
favorite
Obviously,
dishes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's different culture, different style of living, but I like it. I mean, it's different. But actually, I have new billets this year, and our billet mom is half Polish, so the
Mm.
foods are pretty
Hey.
similar. So
Ooh.
that's good for me because to be honest, I don't like the Canadian food, but I will not be hating. So I like the Czech food more, but yeah, but I mean, I've been fishing here, salmon fishing. That was great. Then we, of course, go with the guys to hang out to some like restaurants. We do all kind of that stuff. So, but I've been here only for 2 months so far, so I'm not like uh, right back to it. Like
Right.
last year was
Sure.
all new. Like it was everything new to me, and now I just don't need to go everywhere to explore the downtown
Right.
like last year I came over, I went downtown Niagara Falls. This year I kind of came back from Seattle, kind of like take a deep breath, like yeah, finally I'm like back in one spot and all over the place again, and settle down a little bit. And the season is long, so lots of time.
Mhm.
And you mentioned the cooking. What's the dish that she's making your billet mom
Oh.
that you really look
Yeah.
forward to?
Well, you probably heard that one before. Schnitzel is my
Yes.
one of my favorites.
Oh.
So, so yeah, but there's still nothing I can compare like the Canadian food. I don't know, like
Pierogies?
not my style, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pierogies, of course. I mean, that's a big pull. Is that
yeah,
is that a Czech thing
pierogies.
too?
Then
Pierogies? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, we do pierogies in Czech, but we have like a lot of sauces, dumplings, all this stuff. Like, of course, we are big on soups, so so lots of stuff. But I mean, it's still a food, right? You will eat it, and you're ready to go.
Sure. Absolutely. Just as long as yeah, exactly. It's good and it's good to go. That's it. But schnitzel, I
Yeah,
like that. That's a great
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
great choice. All right, let's talk about the team for a second here, Jakob. Is this one of the best teams you've ever played on?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have lots of skill on that team, lots of great guys, and I think we'll go far this year, and hopefully we will. So it's one of the best teams for sure.
And you talk about the skill and everything like that, but also how about like the leadership group? I know a new captain was announced in Porter Martone and lots of
Yeah,
different assistant captains as well. So
yeah.
how has the leadership kind of been? And I know that this team is known to be pretty close off the ice.
Yeah, I mean, we're a really tight group, and there's a lot of leaders in that room. I mean, every single guy can be leader in that room. I mean, it's not only the guys
Hmm.
wearing the letters, right?
Right.
But obviously, the guys wearing the letters are like the biggest leaders on the team. We have Spencer Sova. He was captain 2 years before on Erie. Marty, I think he's doing pretty good on being captain. Like we have a really good group, and I think that's the main thing for us too. Not just the skill, but the leadership and good group, good locker room. So that's good for us.
All right. How do you say happy Thanksgiving in Czech?
Well, you know what, Mikey? We don't do Thanksgiving,
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay. I did not know.
so
See, I
no,
didn't
that's
I
not.
didn't know.
You don't have to be sorry about it. We just don't like. It's not a big thing in Czech. You can say
Uh
Thanksgiving. It's called Díky zdání, but
Dikusta.
no one really cares in Czech. So
So
so it's
what's the
not a
big
big thing
Christmas
like
is
here.
Christmas
Oh
is the big
yeah,
thing, right?
Christmas is big, Easter is pretty big.
Hmm.
Now Halloween is, but it wasn't before because it's American thing again. So they're kind of like
Hmm.
trying to take over, but it's still not as big as like Christmas and Easter.
I like that. Great answer. Great answer.
Yes. Great answer
Halloween.
trying to
You
take
know
over.
what? Halloween, I get these big kids that come to the door and I don't want to give them candy. Seriously, if they're over like 13 years old, I don't want to give them nothing. And I remember last year, Jakub, I'll tell you a funny story. So many of them came like 13, 14-year-olds, and they always come at like after 9 o'clock, and they just put their thing
Yeah.
out or like this. So trick or
Yeah.
treat. I remember I looked at one and said, "How old are you?" I says, "How old are
You
you?"
know what, Mikey?
You know.
The guys last year made me go for Halloween to do at least one on trick or treat. 'Cause I never did that in
Really?
my life. When I told them, they was like, "Yeah, you have to go." So
Oh my god.
last year I went to our house. I was so embarrassed when they opened the door. I was like trick or treat, and they like look at me like they wanted to kill me. But I was like, there's one house now at home. So,
What did you dress up as? What was the costume?
Yeah.
I think last year I was blooding with Mark Boudreau and Finn Harding, and we had some bear costumes. So I was bear. So it's kind of funny story. Yeah.
Do you have? Do you still have that costume?
No,
Do you still
no,
have it?
it was from the billets. So.
That's actually pretty funny.
Fair enough.
That's you know what? It's just like a rookie thing, right? They made you like go trick or
Yeah, I
treat.
mean, it was my
That's
first time
funny.
ever. And I was
Yeah.
17, so it's kind of
Knock on the door.
yeah, but whatever.
Hey, there you go. You got the experience, though. You got to experience
Yeah,
trick or treating.
Exactly.
right, yeah.
All right, Jakub,
Anyways.
thank you so much for coming on here today, chatting with us. I know it's obviously busy right now, season getting started. So thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you again. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Jakob.
thank you. Thanks again for having me. Have a
See
good
you
one,
this
guys.
weekend. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes,
See ya.
see you this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, that was
That was
Steelheads'
beautiful.
second-year defenseman Jakub Fibigr. We'll be back after this to wrap up that interview and also talk about games coming up here in the near future. I'm Brendan Lang. That's Mikey K. Thanks for coming along here on Trout Talk, Saga 960 AM. And welcome back to Trout Talk on Saga 960 AM. Brendan Lang along with Mikey K, Mike Karafilidis here on Trout Talk. And we just spoke to Steelheads defenseman Jakub Fibigr. You can just tell. I mean, we talk about always the maturity and the closeness of the team. But you had said it there, that it's something to really be proud of. And in his case of learning the language and getting assimilated so quickly into the team culture and into the culture around here. And you can tell that, maybe he is even a little more comfortable this year than he was even a season ago.
Oh, you could totally tell. Totally tell. I mean, remember when we interviewed him last year, right? And he was, he answered the question and that's it. He answered the question, that's it. Maybe said little funny things here and there, but you can see the character of him too, right? He's got a great character. He's getting better. Like remember in the beginning of the season last year, he was still getting comfortable, and that's what the way it is with all the import guys, right? But he caught on really quickly.
He did,
really
yeah.
quickly, right? And he just got better and better and better back there on the back end. And he started off so strong. Hey, Brendan, I mean, already this year he's got 2 assists and he's a +1. That's pretty good through 5 games for a defenseman. But unbelievable how much he's grown to be a man, in my opinion, and to learn the language, as you said, and back on the back end, and he's helping Barton Vakulik, and you could see that, and him and Zidlicki, right? And the Czech threesome there, the 3 Musketeers, I guess we can call them right now, or something like that. But great guys, great kids, and he's huge. He's huge in that back end, Jakub Fibigr.
Yeah, in the first segment we talked a little bit about Stevie Leskovar coming back, and Jakub Fibigr, another guy that's just such a big steadying presence on the back end, and you can tell like he's always been a great skater, and the skating has even taken another step this year, and we've talked about it before. Just the way his ability to close gaps on the back end, I think, is something that really stands out to me when I watch him play. He moves the puck extremely well. And yeah, we of course talk about how getting assimilated off the ice is difficult when you're coming over from a different country at 17 years old, 18 years old. But now, and also getting assimilated on the ice is difficult too. And he's done that seamlessly, and now into his second season looking even stronger than he did last year. And I think it is pretty awesome that you have 3 guys from the same country that are on the team, and they get to kind of, hang out together and speak the same
I love
language
it.
and all that stuff. It for sure helps immensely. So it is pretty cool. And I like what he said too about how for Martin, it might be a little bit more difficult to kind of get into it on the ice because of the team is a little bit older. They're trying to go for an OHL championship Memorial Cup. Last year was more of a learning season, so he could get in there a lot and had more opportunities maybe. So I thought that was pretty interesting that he kind of felt that way as well.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? And, he said it's funny how he said, Martin Mikula came over last year, or he came over this year, but last year he was on one of the best teams in the Czech, but they were younger and stuff like that. Exactly what you're saying, and now he's coming on to this team that's going for it this year, going for it all, right? So, he's trying to mesh in with some older guys and whatnot, but how about the perfect teacher to teach him, under the wings, and Jakub Fibigr? I mean, great character, great guy, Zidlicki too. I mean, just perfect. Perfect situation for Martin Mikula to walk into.
100%. Just like it was a great situation for Jakub to walk into last year. So
exactly.
Big thanks to him for coming on, like you said. Great talking with him.
Unbelievable kid. Unbelievable.
Yes, and great talking with him, and I know we'll have him on the show again before the season's over. So lots of big stuff here coming up for the Brampton Seals. We'll kind of get into, I guess, the games that are going to be played now. When this episode airs, the 2 games are going to be finished, but we can still talk about the 2 teams they're going to be facing off with. I know they've already played Barrie once. They're going to go to Barrie once again to face off against them on Saturday. But first, let's talk about the game coming up against Windsor. Windsor's gotten off to a pretty good start this year.
Oh, I mean, look at Ethan Belched's back. What is he, 6'6" or 6'7" or whatever he is? And man, he's looking good right now. And they got Green Tree there. They got Spellacy back.
Yeah, he's a great player.
They could score a lot of goals. Nesbitt's there. Cristoforo on the back end. They got Joey Costanzo is playing really well in net right now for them. So yeah, this is a team that you gotta forecheck them. You gotta forecheck their defense if I'm the Steelheads, and I'm sure James Richmond's system is going to be perfect for that. Don't let them get out of their own zone. And I think the key to this game, because Windsor's a very, very good team, is the breakouts, because they're so very, very fast in the front. So if they can break out fast, and the Steelheads can show they can break out fast so far this year, they should be okay against the Windsor Spitfires, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the kind of the offensive prowess that they have, and Liam Greentree, of course, leading that. He's got 9 points in 4 games to start this year. I mean, he's a guy who the LA draft pick, somebody who you're going to have to watch out for, of course, anytime that he's on the ice. And it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I mean, Jacob Gibbons, I thought, there were, like you said, maybe goals that he would like to have back in that one. And I think, there's definitely some nerves that go into playing. So he'll be more ready for sure to play in these 2 games. But you still are missing your number 1 goalie. So there are going to be,
No, sorry. Before I forget, that's why I said
yeah.
Sorry about that. 2 guys are going to be back in the lineup that were out of the lineup against the Niagara Ice Dogs. Spencer Silva will be back in the lineup, and Gabe Sherratt will be back in the lineup. Spencer Silva is a big loss back there.
He is,
they need to get him.
100%.
They need to get him back in there. So so that's going to help too.
For sure. Yeah, 100% it will. And I think just, now with Gibbons having a game under his belt, he's going to be a little more comfortable. And I would expect a great performance from him in that game against Windsor. But still, regardless of who the other goalie in the net is, you are still missing your number 1 guy in Ivan Kovic. So the defense is going to have to be tight against a team that can score goals in bunches. And they've shown that so far this year. I'm just looking at the numbers here. They've got 31 goals scored for that leads the OHL, and they've only allowed 12 goals on the other side. So they've been pretty stout. I mean, they've done a lot of things well, and they lead the OHL in penalty minutes. So there's toughness there as well. It's going to be a great game on Friday. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. So big time. I mean, if they lead the league in penalty minutes, the Steelheads, they don't back down. Let's just say that. So it might be an intense game we're looking at there, Lang. So that's gonna be a good one. But they need to get traffic in front of Costanzo. They need to just keep shooting on him. And I'm with you. I think Gibbons is going to have I think he's going to come out of this. And you know what? It's like Bill Belichick says. I called Dave's Richmond Bill Belichick, and next man up, right?
Yep,
Next
that's
man
right.
up. And now he's had almost a full week of practice, being the number one guy, and I'm sure he's just going to be just fine. I mean, Jacob Gibbons was pretty good when they had that carousel of goalies in Erie. There, I mean, it was 5 or 6 of them last year, right? So I expect him to be pretty good this weekend.
Yeah,
Well, he's going to have the next 4 games are his. So
yeah, 100%. So
yeah,
looking forward to seeing him in the net, and obviously getting, like you said, the next 4 games. We can also talk about the game against Barrie. The Steelheads have already gone to Barrie. They've already got a win in Barrie, winning that one 4-1. We talked about it in the first segment a little bit. So what do you think that they can take from the game there, that they beat the Barrie Colton, bring it into this next one, and kind of do the same thing, or maybe have the same blueprint of how to beat this team in this
pressure.
weekend?
Pressure. Take it to them. Take it to them right to them from the opening whistle. Use their speed and just the intensity. Keep the intensity level up the whole time, and that's what they did. And that's what they did against the Barrie Colts. Barrie Colts were moving. They were a little bit slow that game. They were missing. I give them, one thing. They were missing Riley Patterson.
Yeah.
They were missing Bo Akey, who was supposed to be in the lineup that game, but apparently got scratched last minute. But he will be in the lineup this game. So they're going to have those two back. Barry's looked like a different team a little bit since those two have come back. So if the Steelheads can take it to them in the beginning and score quickly on Sam Hillebrand, and we know about Sam Hillebrand, the way he's played against the Steelheads in the past, right? It's like he's on a mission to destroy them because he was a emergency backup at one time. So great goalie. It's going to be an intense matchup up in Barrie, especially on a Saturday night. And it's going to be, and the fans in Barrie are going to be really ramped up. So take it to them in the beginning, get the emotional intensity level up, take it to them in the on the forecheck, get those shots on goal like they did the first game, and they should be all right. And that line of Rakoff, Martone, and McDonnell was absolutely fantastic in that first game. So they're going to need that, and they're going to need all 4 lines to just keep going.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big thing with this team. I know we talk about the depth so much, but just the fact that they can roll the 4 lines, and they've done that so far this year with great success. And I think you talk about the pressure. That's a big thing. Of course, going into Barrie, we discussed it the first time they went there. It's always a tough place to play. So going into Barrie, being able to get off to a good start is a big key, I would say, for the Steelheads. And I feel like they've done a really good job of that this season, getting off to fast starts. I mean, even the game that they lose against Niagara, you said it, Martone scores within the first minute of the game. Rakoff scored within first 16 seconds of the game against London. Even if you go back to the first game, sure, it was disallowed, but Van Volsen scored a goal really early on in that. Like, they've seemed to have been able to get off to good starts. And I think that's going to continue and going to have to continue if they want to win that game against.
You got to be physical too.
Barrie Colts. Yeah, for sure.
Physical against the Barrie Colts.
And you said it as well. Bo Akey and Riley Patterson, 2 massive pieces to their lineup that they were missing the last time the Steelheads played them. So it'll be a different game. It will 100% be a different game this time around against the Barrie Colts. And when we talked about it before the season started, we both had them in the top 4 in the Eastern Conference. And I still think that that's going to be the case. So it will be a different game for sure this time around. All right. So before we finish off today, we'll talk quickly 2 other things. One thing, we'll stick with the Steelheads here, and that's the Jack Ivankovic suspension. You heard us talking about it in the first segment. Also discussed it a little bit there with Fibby, but Ivankovic 4-game suspension. What do you think of it from a league standpoint, I guess?
Don't like it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like it one bit. 4 games, a little bit harsh. When see, that whole play, that whole sequence was a big scrum, and they were mad. See, they were mad. Niagara was mad because Kevin he took a little shot from Lescavar, and that's what ended up with the scrum and whatnot, right? And then the goalies decided to go at it. There was another scrum going up outside. Draguska was getting into it. I can't remember with who. I think Shanowski, I believe.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And then all of a sudden I look down to my left and what is going on? Like all of a sudden they're going to go at it. Oh, floor is a thing. But besides that, 4-game suspension for that. No, I think it's a little bit too harsh. Maybe I could have seen maybe 2 games, 1 game, and whatnot. But 4 games and a 20-year-old Flores against a 17-year-old Ivankovic. And then I'll say this, and this is my just my opinion. When Ivan Kovic was down on the ground, Flores gave him an extra couple shots, 2-3 shots, which I thought was unacceptable in my mind. Right. So
Yeah.
if anything, you get Flores the extra suspension because of that. That's my opinion on that. But 4 games each, too harsh.
Yeah, there definitely were some extra shots. I mean, you were in the building. I just saw it after the fact. But yeah, I completely agree with you. I just think 4 games doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless there's a rule in the rule book that I'm not aware of that any goalie fight is a 4-game suspension. I just don't see what the grounds would be to give them a 4-game suspension. If you look at every other fight in the league, it's a 5-minute penalty. Sure, instigators, whatever, could be a 10-minute misconduct, whatever it might be, but then if goalies fights, it's a 4-game suspension. Like, I just don't see how that makes any sense. Sure, taking off the mask, okay, fine. Taking off a helmet, you're going to get an extra suspension of that. Okay, a game. You get a game for that. I just don't see where the 4 games comes from. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. So what? Guys can skate in front of the goalies and cause trouble, and the goalies can't do anything? Just saying. So what happens if when say a player slashes a goalie and the goalie decides he wants to retaliate and punch, which is whatever. I mean, it's part of the game, right? Some of that stuff's going to happen sometimes. What, you're going to give two games to the goalie or something? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. 4 games is too much, in my opinion.
100%. 100% agree with that. All right, moving on. Quentin Musty, we'll get to him here quickly with the Sudbury Wolves, not reporting there after being sent back from San Jose camp. Apparently has requested a trade. What have you heard, or what's your kind of opinion on this situation?
Well, it's kind of weird actually with the Musty situation because I mean, you look at 2 situations with Barlow, right? And Barlow didn't want to go back to Owen Sound, but he didn't report to camp, right? He didn't report to their training camp. Quentin Musty did. He reported their training camp. He went through the training camp with the Sudbury Wolves and whatnot. And then all of a sudden he goes to San Jose camp and all of a sudden he wants a trade. I don't know. I just find that kind of weird, but that's just the way Quentin feels. But I don't know. Somebody's going to pick him up, obviously, and it's going to be interesting to see who picks him up. I mean, in my mind, I don't know. I mean, I know the Steelheads have tons of picks. I mean, 7 seconds, 6 thirds, whatnot. So I'm not sure if they're going to go after him. But there's a couple of names that have been in the mix with the Steelheads. I don't want to discuss, say that right now, but I don't know. I don't know for sure, but we'll see what happens. We'll get Musty, but in my mind, it's a little bit weird.
No, yeah, I agree. You're right. Like going to camp first and then heading off to San Jose and then saying he doesn't want to be there. Yeah, there's definitely, probably more to the story that we're not going to be privy to all the information, of course, that goes on. So we don't know exactly what that would be. But yeah, somebody's going to pick him up. I think the Steelheads, like you said, they have the assets to do it. You also mentioned there's some other names floating around that maybe the Steelheads would be looking at, and that's fine. I think personally that Musty goes to the Western Conference. I think that's probably more likely. I don't know exactly what the draft cupboard looks like for the contenders in the West, but I would think he goes to the West. That's just my feeling on the situation.
Well, maybe you can see the Flint Firebirds picking him up, right?
Possibly,
it seems like to me that the Wolves and the Flint Firebirds have been trade partners a lot lately. I mean, they just traded Mania, Kanyon, and Collins over there, right? So for Klinkhammer and Ewells, whatnot. But hey, maybe you could see Musty going back to play with those guys, right? So he is American too, as well, just to say. So maybe he wants to go there. So I'm just throwing it out there. Who knows? Maybe London might swoop in. So
imagine that.
We all know.
London will be dancing around there. They'll 100% be in on. They're always in on those kind of moves. So it'll be interesting to see for sure. And I would think it happens sooner than later. I mean, I'm not gonna. I hope for the player it doesn't drag out too long where he's not playing. You want him to be playing. So we'll see. We'll see what shakes out with that for sure. It definitely will be interesting. All right. Before we send things off, we usually do life tips, but we have a holiday actually right now. It's Thanksgiving Sunday. Mikey, I know you're a big Thanksgiving guy. We talked about the stuffing before. What are your plans for Thanksgiving? What's going on today?
All right, so everybody's going over to my sister's house, both families. So it's going to be about, oh my goodness, 10, 15, 20, 25 people. The immediate, this is just the immediate, right?
Yep.
So families and whatnot. So yeah, big Thanksgiving dinner going on there. And I made sure that they're going to make more stuffing this year. They're not going to be out of stuffing this year because last year they were out and I was very, very upset. Well, not upset in my mind, but what are you going to do, right? And there's going to be lots of food and it's going to be all about family, and that's what it's all about.
What
for
it's
me,
about.
being around the family and whatnot.
100%.
So I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, the stuffing better be there. Otherwise, because I told my sister and everybody else who's who's going to be cooking that day, please make sure that you make more stuffing. Because last year when I turned around, it was gone. This year, I'm going to turn around and it better be up to here. I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. I'm very grateful to be to be able to have the opportunity to have stuffing. So, but yeah, it's all about family to me. I don't even care about that, and that's it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to be going to my grandparents' house. We'll have family over, and I'm telling you, there's never been a shortage of food at those. There's leftovers for weeks afterwards.
Turkey, right?
So, the turkey, the stuffing, all that. So definitely looking forward to it. But you're right; it's all about family. It's all about getting together and seeing everybody again, and that's exactly what it's about. So looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Football as well. We get football on Thanksgiving too. So there's going to be lots going on. Going to be lots going on for sure.
And we have the day off that day, so that's a good thing. So
for sure, will be a great day. All right, Mikey. Thank you to Jakub Fibigr for coming on the program. Great to chat with him, and thank you for listening on Saga 960 or watching or listening wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Brendan Lang.
Stuffing.
Yes. Share the stuffing. That's right. Share it. Share everything, not just the stuffing. Everything.
There's your life tip.
That's right. All right. Thank you for coming along. I'm Brendan Lang. That's Mikey K. Mike Karafilidis. We're signing off here on Trout Talk on Saga 960 AM. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.